Excalibur. Excalibur wasn't just a sword. It was the medieval version of a golden ticket. In some stories, Arthur pulled it from a stone like a gym challenge for kingship, and in others, the Lady of the Lake floated up like she was running an underwater pawn shop. Either way, if you held Excalibur, you weren't just strong, you were chosen. The blade supposedly shone so brightly it blinded enemies, and it never broke. But the real secret weapon wasn't the sword at all. It was the scabbard. Whoever wore it couldn't be killed. So Arthur's biggest strength wasn't swordplay, it was medieval accessorizing. Of course, he eventually lost the scabbard because legends love reminding us that even kings can misplace the most important part. When Arthur was dying, Excalibur was thrown back to the lake, caught by the lady again, like it was too legendary to stay on land. Centuries later, it still pops up in movies, games, and comics. It wasn't just a weapon, it was destiny, sharpened into steel. Mjolnir. Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, is the Norse version of carrying thunder in your pocket. Forged by dwarves, it ended up with a short handle thanks to Loki's pranking. But Thor didn't mind. He swung it anyway, and the hammer became the ultimate multi-tool. It could flatten mountains, smash giants, summon lightning, and boomerang back into his hand like the most aggressive frisbee ever. But here's the twist. Mjolnir wasn't only about destruction. It blessed marriages, protected newborns, and hallowed the dead. Imagine your wedding officiant whipping out a hammer and saying, "By Thor's power, you may kiss the bride." Sacred and terrifying at the same time, and only the worthy could lift it. Not even gods could casually grab it. Thor was the only one who wielded it with ease, which made him the ultimate flex in Norse mythology. Today, Mjolnir is everywhere. Tattoos, necklaces, blockbuster movies. But the original hammer wasn't just about looking cool. It was faith, thunder, and raw cosmic power condensed into one short-handled apocalypse. Kusanagi. Kusanagi no Tsurugi, Japan's grass-cutting sword. Sounds like a gardener's dream, but it's one of the country's most sacred treasures. The storm god Susanoo killed an 8-headed dragon, sliced open its tail, and found this sword inside, because apparently dragons were ancient storage units. He gave it to his sister, the sun goddess Amaterasu, making it a divine symbol of authority. Later, the hero Yamato Takeru was trapped in a burning field set by enemies. Using Kusanagi, he cut through the grass to escape, then turned the flames back on his attackers. That's not just survival, that's sword-assisted pyrotechnics. From then on, it was nicknamed the grass-cutting sword, which undersells the whole dragon-slaying thing, but hey, names stick. Today, it's still part of Japan's imperial regalia, hidden during rituals and never seen by the public. Some even doubt it still exists, but the mystery only makes it stronger. A dragon-born weapon, a national treasure, and a symbol of divine power, Kusanagi remains one of the sharpest legends around. Gungnir, Odin's spear. Gungnir was basically the world's deadliest dart. Forged by dwarves, the mythological blacksmith MVPs, it was so perfectly crafted and magically enhanced that it never missed. Once Odin threw it, the target was finished. Doesn't matter if you were a giant, a god, or hiding behind a mountain, the spear found you. If Excalibur was destiny, Gungnir was inevitability. You couldn't outrun it, outsmart it, or pray your way out of it. Odin didn't even have to fight fair. He just lobbed the spear and let fate handle the rest. Beyond being a weapon, Gungnir symbolized Odin's authority. Before battles, he'd throw it over enemy lines to claim them for himself, like shouting, "You're mine now," across the battlefield. It was less about stabbing and more about psychological domination, and unlike Thor's chaotic hammer, Gungnir represented precision and control. It was destiny in weapon form, cold, sharp, and inevitable. One strike, one outcome, no second chances. Durandal. France's answer to Excalibur was Durandal, the indestructible sword of Roland, one of Charlemagne's greatest knights. This wasn't just a blade, it was practically a holy relic store. Inside the hilt, legend says there were pieces of sacred treasures, like a tooth of St. Peter and a strand of Mary's hair. With that much divine hardware packed in, Roland wasn't just carrying a sword, he was carrying God's own endorsement. The legend peaks at the Battle of Roncesvalles Pass, where Roland fought to the bitter end against overwhelming odds. He tried to destroy Durandal so the enemy wouldn't get it, smashing it against rocks. But instead of breaking the blade, he broke the mountains. Imagine trying to snap your phone in half and accidentally destroying the entire table instead. That's how tough this sword was. In the end, Roland died with Durandal hidden beneath him, making sure it never fell into the wrong hands. An unbreakable sword, infused with holy relics, wielded by a knight who fought to the last breath. Durandal was basically knightly loyalty forged into steel. Poseidon's Trident. Poseidon's Trident is what happens when you turn a giant seafood fork into a doomsday weapon. Forged by the Cyclops, it gave Poseidon absolute control over the sea. With one strike, he could whip up storms, sink ships, and cause earthquakes so intense he earned the nickname Earthshaker. Imagine living in a coastal town, praying Poseidon didn't wake up grumpy because his weapon could literally rearrange the map. But the Trident wasn't just about destruction, it was also about control. Poseidon could calm the seas as easily as he could unleash chaos. In one famous story, he struck the ground during his contest with Athena for Athens. Poseidon produced a salty spring, pretty useless, while Athena offered an olive tree, practical. Athens went with the tree, but the Trident still remained the ultimate symbol of Poseidon's rule. Today, the image of a three-pronged spear is still tied to power over the ocean. The Trident wasn't just a weapon, it was the ocean's crown, capable of turning calm waters into disaster at the flick of a wrist. Sword of Damocles. The Sword of Damocles is legendary not for battle, but for anxiety. The story goes that Damocles, a flatterer in King Dionysius' court, kept praising how lucky it must be to live like a king. Tired of the flattery, Dionysius offered to swap places. Damocles happily sat on the throne, feasted like royalty, and basked in the luxury, until he looked up. Above his head hung a sword, dangling by a single horsehair. Suddenly the food lost its flavor, and the throne didn't feel so comfy. That sword symbolized the constant danger that comes with power. Rulers might enjoy wealth and status, but at any moment, disaster could strike. The sword was less a weapon and more a metaphor, the world's first motivational poster, if motivational posters were terrifying. Today, the phrase Sword of Damocles still means a looming threat, whether it's bills, deadlines, or existential dread. The sword didn't spill blood, but it carved itself into history as the ultimate reminder that power comes with a price. Shamshir-e Zomorrodnegar. Persian mythology brings us Shamshir-e Zomorrodnegar, the emerald-studded sword, a blade with a reputation for slaying demons. Its first owner was Zahak, a tyrant king cursed with snakes growing from his shoulders, definitely not prom king material. Zahak used the sword to enforce his monstrous rule, until the hero Poseidon rose up, captured him, and claimed the weapon. From then on, the blade switched sides, from symbol of tyranny to symbol of justice. Legends say it could kill demons and monsters that no other weapon could touch, making it the ultimate mythological exterminator. Unlike other legendary weapons tied only to heroes, this sword had a redemption arc of its own, once wielded by a villain, later reclaimed by good. Decorated with emeralds, it wasn't just deadly, it was flashy too. Imagine fighting demons with a blade that looks like it belongs in a royal jewelry case. Shamshir-e Zomorrodnegar wasn't just a sword, it was divine justice in glittering green steel. That's the end of this myth. Stick around by subscribing so you don't miss the next one. Goodbye.